You're listening to Blue Radio, bringing the vibe.
We have promised you a very interesting and insightful conversation. We're going to be talking about femicide. And I just want to present some statistics before I present my guest this morning. According to the National Gender and Equity Commission, that is NGEC, wanasema ya kwamba 45% of women aged between 15 and 49 in Kenya have experienced physical or sexual violence. And this got worse in 2020 during COVID-19. And we also remember during our protests and some time back in Kenya, femicide and violence against women had drastically gone up. And so, why is this conversation so important? We'll be finding out this particular morning as we are joined by the one and only
Zeinab Mohammed.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Karibu ndani ya Blue Radio.
Asante sana. Thank you for having me here.
All right, it's a pleasure to have you as well. For those who don't know, where you come from, I understand you're coming from CDP. Who is CDP and what does CDP do?
Center for Development and Peace is a youth-led, women-led organization.
Okay.
We are based in Bombolulu. We handle all matters women, sexual reproductive health, we're in peace and security, and governance as well. Mm-hmm. Yes. All right.
Very, very, very nice. Now, we started by, breaking down some statistics, yeah? Yes. Where they're saying 45%, of women between 15 and 49 have experienced sexual and physical abuse. Yeah. Somebody could be listening and they don't know, what is femicide. Could we start by breaking down for them what that is?
Okay, sawa. Naweza kutumia lugha zote mbili.
Tafadhali.
For purposes of effective communication,
sawa.
Say femicide is the act of violence against a woman just because she's a woman.
Okay.
Yeah, katika ile hali ya kumdhulumu mwanamke kwa sababu ya jinsia yake ama because they are frail and a bit weak. Mm-hmm. So those are the acts of violence against women, perpetrated mostly by men. It could be by also women, but no, this one is by men.
So femicide, it's when a man now,
yes,
inflicts harm on a woman.
Yes.
Okay. So what if a woman inflicts the harm? What do we call that?
Still femicide.
It's still femicide,
Like woman on woman crime, eh?
Woman on woman.
But how often do you document such?
When we see women fighting, we don't even consider it as violence.
What do you consider it as?
Labda wanasuluhisha tu migogoro pale. But all that aside, yeah, this is a very, very serious conversation. And we're so glad to have you here this morning. Sometimes, we mistake femicide with gender-based violence. Is there a difference? Are they the same, or how are these two things?
Actually, I don't think you can talk about femicide without including the gender-based violence, because these are violence done against women that most of them results to death. Mm-hmm. Yeah, or critical situations where somebody could easily lose their life, because before huyu mtu afike pale kwa kifo lazima some sort of pain has been inflicted on this lady. Mm-hmm. They've been beaten. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and some of them starts like that, GBV maybe in the house. Mm-hmm. And then what results to death. Mm-hmm. We can see what happened to our good lady Chepto, the athlete.
Yes.
Yes. I'm sure if maybe I'm not pretty certain about the information, but I don't think it is his first attempt. Mm-hmm. So for her fleeing for safety and just focusing about her and her kids, what did it result to? Mm-hmm. Petrol on her body with severe burns that sadly took her life. Mm-hmm. Leaving her children without a mother. And now the father is on the run.
Now the children don't have a mother.
They don't have both parents.
Yeah, for sure. But Zeinab, somebody would want to understand what leads to that moment, because it doesn't. I can't wake up today and just find myself angry with this woman. Yeah. Somebody at work cannot just wake up and say I don't like this particular person. There are some things that lead to that point. Mm-hmm. What are these things? What are the causes?
I think culturally, if we go in the country, these acts of violence against women, you'll find them that sometimes you hear people say, mwanamke kama asiki umpige. Those little statements that you have, that you over time have created a lot of harm. There are other cultural practices where you'll even find, sadly, some women saying kama bwanako akupigi hakupendi. It's not a good statement to say. There's plenty of ways that you can express love without necessarily being violent, because why would you beat something that you love? Why would you harm somebody that you say you love? But I'll go again niseme, mtu mwenye mipango ya kukufanya kitu kibaya, they don't need a reason. There's some people, they just cycles like that. Kwa sababu if you try and I say, mtu tu hawezi amka akuue, you know, hata kama ni hasira that has been piled over time, will it result to me coming stomping your head till you lose your life? It means this person already has a history of violence or unresolved traumas that hajazi sort out.
Right.
Yes.
It's true.
Because it's like, if we talk about rape, alafu the victimization ya kumfanya ule victim feel ashamed, unamuuliza alikuwa amevaa nini. There is no reason for anybody that I can put kusema alikuwa katika hiyo situation yenye amekuwa. We have seen children, little girls, little boys being defiled by grown people. Will I sit and say, what was that little kid wearing? But either way, you cannot start creating excuses for somebody who has created heinous crimes. It will be sasa, wajua mimi nilifanya hivi kwa sababu ya hivi na hivi. Nothing will ever justify violence against a woman or even taking their lives. Nothing. Yes.
Currently, in the modern setup, kuna this notion that if a woman, earns more, or a woman is economically empowered, it's a trigger. Is it something you've seen, that if a woman has more economic a success, it would lead to feminism, or is it only a belief or a myth that people have?
I think that can be part of, but you cannot tell a woman as singangane just because you feel inferior about somebody else topping you, whether it's in education, career. We are all presented with the same opportunities. Why don't you take up? Na tukianza kuangalia tukirudi nyuma, men have had good opportunities to be more successful, because look at it this way, we had to fight to get education. We are still fighting up to now, so that young girls can be able to complete their education without necessarily being married off. Kuna some parts in the country where amefika miaka 8, kuna mtu amembook tayari because of some debts that the father went and collected. So the only way, even when you go back in time, mtu akiza mtoto wa kike wasemaje, they can't wait to marry you off so that they can, wanasema una exchange ngombe mmoja upate ngombe kadhaa. It's not right. So we've had to, and we're still fighting for our spaces, even up to today. Yeah, we're still fighting to get education so that we may be able to compete fairly. Kwa sababu wewe mtoto wa kiume ukirudi nyumbani, you don't think about washing the dishes, you don't think about cleaning the house, but toka udogoni mtoto wa kike yuamba, wajua wewe huwezi kuoa, when your brother goes out to play with the bike, huamba wake up nyumbani, you see
kazi
and norms toka kitambo. So we're trying to say, hata wewe, you should be able to go back to the house and clean your own dishes. You should be able to take care of your own hygiene nyumbani. But you see, easy culture that tumeeneza sana, so it makes it okay that even when sahi msichana akifanyikiwa kitu ulizo ulikuwa kwa nini ulipita hapo? Can you really create an excuse for somebody who wants to do violence against you?
No, you can't.
It's like ujipate kwa hapo nje umeibiwa simu, ulizo kwa nini uko umetoa simu yako? Why shouldn't you use your phone in public?
For sure, yeah. Very, very powerful. If you're joining us right about now, we are in the building with Zeinab Mohammed from CDP. We are talking about, or conversing about, femicide in the country or in the world. A very in-depth conversation. If you want to engage and chat with her or have any question for her, kindly hit us up at Blue Radio Kenya on our social media handles. www.blueradio.co.ke is where you can find us this particular morning. We are taking a short commercial break. When we come back, we want to get into some of the steps or other initiatives that CDP is undertaking to ensure that the public is aware on femicide, and more importantly, if you are a victim, what steps can you take or where can you go to seek assistance? And we are conversing or chatting up on femicide, a very serious issue that is affecting our society, our countries, and us as a people. The recent case being one of a Ugandan athlete who was set on fire by the husband for unknown reasons or reasons known best to them. We are here this morning to create awareness and remind the public of why this is a very key and sensitive conversation. As we welcome Zeinab back, I want to get into the work that you do, about creating awareness and generally informing the public of, why femicide is out there, why they need to report these cases, and why it's important, to create a database of, victims, of perpetrators and whatnot. But before we even get to that, how does femicide affect a society? Let's say a young girl, high school girl, has been assaulted.
Yeah.
What is the general impact, on a community?
Well, the impact alone doesn't just stand with the girl, because now she's going to lose trust in those who she thought would be there for her. But hata twende tu mbele. Ian, are you married?
No.
Yes, you intend to marry one day.
Ian is still in the shop or he's still in the market.
Probably a lady.
Yeah.
And sasa tukuje hapa. When you do something to this girl, umemwaffect yeye sana, but also the community around her. What do you want people to look at when we think about men in general? How do you want me to look at you? Like I'm looking at you, Ian, and the DJ, of course, I'm looking at you. I'm thinking one day or any minute they can snap and take away my life. Yeah, it affects even the general outlook ya watoto wadogo ambao wanakuwa. They look at men in a certain type of way.
Right.
It is a danger. Yeah. When you say, what do we do when we educate the woman? We educate the whole entire world. Women are important just as much as men. We play different roles in our community and our society. Hatuwezi kushindana na mwanamume na mwanamume pia hawezi shindana na mwanamke. We need each other to live. So mbona usimpatie equal opportunity pia akue in a safe environment, because we have normalized saying that wajua wewe mtoto wa kike usiwe nje by 6. Why? What if hata yeye pia anataka kuona sunset? You made it so hostile that we now look at you. We are not animals. Right. We are human beings. We should be able to respect somebody, let them grow. Ni watoto kishaanza kwa violate kwanza sasa, what do you expect for the future? Tukiwa ndani ya nyumba tuko ready all the time. If I see you raising your fist, I run for the knife. Like I said, we should learn to tell our little boys how to respect women. Or as easy case yazitapungua, you have to be your sister's keeper. You have to be able to call out when a fellow man is speaking something and it makes sense. Be like, no, this is not how it. And we need men to us to be able to have a safe environment, kwa sababu hatuwezi kuongea hizi situations without including you.
Right.
Because hata tukiingia kwa parliament say wengi walioko ni nani?
Wanaume.
Even with the action ya kusema we must have a lot of women in parliament. So tukikuja na policies tukisema tutaka hii iwe law, who has to pass it?
Obviously the MPs who are majority are men.
So we need one another.
Right.
If this is not just our fight, and I do understand tukisema femicide of sisi pia, but you have the opportunity to be on airwaves. You can speak about this issue. But since we are coming together to say these are women issues that tungependa mtusikize na mtu support. We are not fighting one another. We're actually fighting for each other to be able to stop. Usipate dadako ameuliwa somewhere, or a friend of somebody because somebody could not control their emotions. They decided, I knew this and I'm gonna take your life. It's not normal, even to the act of violence that ati mtu amekuudhi. You cannot have a steady conversation. You resort to beating them or harming them so that you can be able to pass a message of fear. For sure.
Yes. For sure. Currently, civic education and awareness of femicide is I would say it's very low in our communities.
Yeah.
And CDP is undertaking this initiative. Why do you think it's important, to go to communities, grassroots, and educate the community on the same?
Tukikuja tukiangalia statistics watu sana wanaopata GBV ni kutoka hapi communities who are coming from underprivileged areas because of that lack of education and knowledge of certain things. So it is important for us to go back there. Mtu ambaye yuko kidogo shule anasema I'm not excusing. Kuna watu I've seen they're well educated but they still face domestic violence.
Right, yeah.
And the problem we have now in the community is that victim blaming. We need to tell them that it is not okay, and if somebody amepitia such things like even raping, kuna that stigma yule alibakwa, yule huyo apigwa na bwanake. It's not right, the fact that tumesema mtu amepigwa na bwanake, it's not funny. And sasa what happens, huyu mtoto wa kike yuaji feature because they don't want people to know that they beat her up. They don't want people to associate with the stigma of being raped, even though it's not your fault. Or any sort of violence. You should be able to document, go and report. Nendeni mka report. Kwa sababu msipo report, how will we be able to say katika mwezi huu these cases have happened? Don't lose faith in going to report these issues. It is very important for us to have documented data. Because even we've realized tukiongea kuhusu femicide, we're talking about generally the country. Nikikuuliza sasa Mombasa, maybe specific Kisauni, we should be able to have such data. We should be able to go and consult that hii kesi hii na hii imefanyika. So that's how we prioritize these issues. We find laws that are very strict and that can help not only the girl child, even you, the boy child.
Yeah. And when you talk about reporting, Zeinab, so somebody has amekutishia pale, yes, ukaenda ukasema my colleague at work amesema atanipiga kofi, yes, then what happens in terms of follow up? What happens in terms of security of this person? Do we have ways that you can educate the person and tell them now that space maybe is not safe for you, should you go back, and that kind of thing? How does that work?
I think also trying to tell that person hapo mahali, it depends on where you are. If it is in a workplace, I think action should be taken upon the one who issues threat. Obviously kuna ile system yenye inaenda, kuna HR nini, but if you are in the community, you have to go and report that person. And I know sometimes verbal threats may be like, alisema tu, please, that's not a joke.
Right.
If they can say it out loud, they will do it. Yes, proudly. And maybe by that time utasema ndo ile issues where pengine something has happened to somebody. Wasikia, tulikuwa tumuona yule na alikuwa yosema atafanya kitu kama hicho. So those words should not be taken lightly. Also, those are form of violence, verbal violence. Calling you names, akwambia wewe utakufa tu siku moja. You're already threatening my life. So I'm working with the background ya kuwa mtu fulani amesema siku moja nitaku. You should be able to go and report. Please msichukue hizi issues violence or these verbal insults that are very heinous and then unanyamaza nazo. Please go report, because how else will be having to say tuna issue fulani hapa kwa community. The only reason as to why maybe sometimes tunakuja hata kuweka uhamasisho kwa jamii ni jambo limejitokeza muda na muda, so we are able to find statistics that this is a real issue that is happening. We need to have those data.
Lakini Zeinab, tuseme kuna jamii tuseme kuna village, iko very remote place, kama mimi huko penye natoka maybe Rift Valley, tuko mali huko ndani in the forest, deep in the valleys, the only laws that we have, the only people we have are leaders in that community. In that setting. Sijui kama unapata hii picha.
Na kuelewa vizuri sana.
Tunajua vizuri mtu fulani huwa labda anampiga bibi yake. But hakuna, sasa ataripoti kwa nani? Na tuko kwa hiyo jamii ndogo hivyo. Hatuna labda polisi wakuja kupatrol, hatuna labda organizations kama zenye ambazo tunazaenda kusema kuna hii kesi inatokea.
Chief pia ni rafiki yake, huo chief mwenye anafaa kwenda kuripoti kwake. Chief pia ni rafiki yake, wakikutana pale kwenye mangwe anampatia chief ya macho.
Tuseme sasa bedhe venye mwenzangu amesema, labda au viongozi na wenye wanafanya ni marafiki. What then do we do?
Katika constitution ya Kenya, I think we have a constitution that will, it's there to protect us.
Yeah.
Alafu pia mambo na violence, I don't think they should have kangaroo courts. I don't think ni issue presentia chief.
Yeah.
I'm making them aware that kuna mtu fulani hapa amenikwaza, amenifanyia an act of violence, but you're proceeding as well to go to the police station. Na naelewa kuna sehemu zingine kidogo police station iko very very far.
Yeah.
Given where ambao anakaa, kunazo areas even here in Mombasa that kule interior that police station iko mbali, but please ukiona umeenda kumwambia chief, because I think chief will take action ya kusema mimi nitaita polisi
wakuje,
watakuja na Land Cruiser, then mtachotwa nyote, mtaenda huko mtaandika
statement.
But hiyo kusinzilia kusema utaenda kwa chief, alafu kama ulivyosema pia chief ni mwanadamu, ataenda kwa mangwe, atapoa like maybe hata ni 1,000. Is it really worth it? Your life?
Right.
Yes. So you should not pera encourage sana wale. That's why we create an awareness with the family. You need to support this person who comes aseme nimefanyikiwa na 1 2 3. You need to support them. See how you can get about to make sure that you get them to safety, because not only do they need kwenda kuangalia hospitali, but they also need therapy. It's not easy.
Right.
Hata kwa ule mwanamke ambao amepigwa asema yupigwa na yarudi tena huko kondani, they don't know any better. And if you go and check, majority of the women who have been in GBV or marriages where they experience such form of violence, it's very hard for them to go out. Because akitoka, they always come back. It's because that trauma bond, they don't know any better, and you need to encourage them, wapatie your support. That's why I say we need each other.
Right.
Yeah, because we cannot fight this fight alone as women. Mimi saizi kama Zeinab Mohammed, if I see like a friend of mine who is in a marriage and they experience such violence, siwezi kwenda kumwambia vipi dadangu, mbona usitoke utambwa kwa sababu hujafanya nini wewe? Exactly my point. You're jealous. But if I have you, a brother, it hits different when it comes from a brother. Pia kwambia this is not what you deserve. But we also need you to tell your fellow men that apana, this is not how you go about this issue. Mbona unataka kumua huyu? But it should not be something pia tuna negotiate sana. Violence is violence.
Right.
Violence is violence. We should not be negotiating on violence. Hata kwa zile areas ambao tunasema they are so remote, where the chief anakaa kwa mangwe na the perpetrator and the village pimp who has money, well, si nyingi. Nothing is worth a goat or a cow, especially when you're negotiating on behalf of the victim, because how do they feel? Na kama tukiendelea hivi, that is why we have rising numbers, we don't want this movement to just end at kwa vile tulikuwa barabarani mkamaliza. No, it's something that we really need to look at. It's an issue, and I'm encouraging them, ikikufanyikia nenda ka report, kama wamjua mtu nenda ka report, because we need to go and get the statistics. Useme leo Kisauni kumefanyika 1 2 3. The famous alleged case right now is for the one man army, that's happening in Topanga, allegedly. It's an issue and it's affecting
the community
huko, but sasa kama hautaenda kureport, how do we have the statistics? Ni kina nani walio kuwa violated? And sadly for mtoto wa kike, it's not like the same. Just like we've laughed about, Ian said something that kipigwa na bibi haizi kwenda kureport.
Uweze
unaona that it's toxic. It's toxic.
The
way
stigma.
you feel.
The stigma, Zeinab.
It's the same with women, imagine. Sasa hivi siwezi ati mtu amenishika vibaya na anasema unajua ulikuwa afanya nini, and that is the first question they will ask you. Ulikuwa kwa wapi?
Kwa nini
unajipitisha na hapo? Kwa nini nisipite na hapo? Si ni barabara. Right.
Right.
Yes.
All right. So also Madam Zeinab, when we talk about femicide and gender-based violence, it goes beyond our community.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, we've had cases of gender-based violence or maybe femicide, maybe in our learning institutions, in our campuses, in our high schools. And this is my interesting question. Do you feel like as an individual, maybe someone who is championing for the end of this kind of menace in our society. Do you feel like there's need for us to incorporate maybe the some of maybe tuweke kwenye vipengele kwenye curriculum vitae kama msomo education system tujaribu kuincorporate pale kwenye curriculum pale
watu wafunzwe darasani
uhamasisho yani.
The first learning starts at home. It will be a waste nikuje shule nikwambie wewe kama ni kazi za nyumbani msaidiane, lakini ukirudi kwa nyumba mama anasema mtoto wake ingie jikoni, baba anasema mtoto wake aende wapi nje akacheze. It starts at home. So where best than to go back to the community and educate them about these issues. So then also the religious leaders will do their part, even you katika airwaves will do your part, because it's something that we need to talk about over and over again. If you have children and they go to school, you want them to perform. But how do they perform kama mmoja akikuja kuna task nyumbani, the other just gets to go and be a child. Majority of wasichana in homes who are firstborn, they will tell you that they are the deputy parent. I don't think a lot of male will tell you about being a deputy parent, but if it's the girl, naenda na nikirudi nipate umepika umefanya 1 2 3.
Yeah,
it's an issue we have. Sasa nyinyi ni mababa, kesho mtakuja kwa somebody's husbands. Those are things you need to take caution of. You'd want your daughter to have good education. It's the same thing ni kama Said nasema wewe mwanamke usingoje mpaka umefika miaka fulani atakana wewe umeolewa, but yet when your wife is having a gynecology issue, you're not comfortable with her seeing the male doctor. Why is it?
I will never be comfortable.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So it is very important. I'm saying this movement is just not for us. You also need to be, and I'm not telling you this kwa sababu of you're thinking about hospitality and all that. I'm saying it's an issue. It should not be happening. But right. Our cultural norms have allowed easily to kwa muda mrefu sana.
It's true.
Yeah, kuna kila mahali utasikia mwanamke kama asikii mpige. It's not right. Wewe ingekuwa sisi tunafaa tuwapige nyinyi every time because nyinyi hamsikii kutuliko.
If you are touching base with us, thank you very much. The Breakfast of Champions with Malai Kipto.
MC Wadanith in the building.
You know, we are chopping it up nice and easy with Zeinab from CDP. Our conversation is rooted on femicide and of course drawing inspiration or analysis from the recent case of an athlete from Uganda who was set ablaze by the lover. And why are these conversations so important in society? We've broken that down. And what are the steps you can take, more importantly, to report these issues? Right here, right now, we do have Zeinab. And they are doing an interesting project. They are creating that awareness and they are developing a database, to document and to create a platform where victims can get support. Somebody would be asking you, Zeinab, if I want to contribute to this project you're doing, how can I do that? And more importantly, why is it important to have a database?
A database will prompt the policies that we're going to create on such issues to cater to femicide. Kwa sababu sahi ukienda kureport, mostly uta-report on the GBV.
Yeah.
There's no just geared towards
femicide.
You don't have hizo vipengele. But when you report, we can be able to have the numbers in documentation and say, now this is what is happening. This is what we need. And we want at least here this policy this law altered kidogo to cater for this and that, including the victim blaming and all that. So it's very important for us to have that documentation. And for those who want to support, you can follow us on our social media pages to see how if we have engagement with you guys, we can be able to see how tunaweza push hizi vitu because we need support. And we need to see as kwa sisi tunafanya mradi, but nyinyi mko na something else that you can call us, we can participate in pamoja.
Right.
Just like the way we are here at Blue Radio now. You're giving us the airwaves. Because if I come here, I know I'll be able to communicate to a larger group. Yeah, because there are a lot of people listening in.
Right.
And they're now aware of one or two things. At least hata kama sija kuwa specific in going into details so much because of time, but at least I'm telling you that we have this issue and kuna umuhimu sana wa kudocument. Yes.
So documents inaweza kusaidia, let's say when you're going to court, when you have a case.
Yeah, but also if we're coming up with the policy, that's what the data there will inform what next do we do, and then we can push for it forward. Yes.
Do you have open dates, for example, Kamukunjis, where people could come and air their thoughts, their views on the same?
So currently now what we're doing, we're just creating awareness katika college institutions. But what we can do is for the next activity maybe we'll be having, we'll share mapema so that you guys can pass out the word.
All right.
Or we can have like a general for the public.
But I can also share my views through your social media. Let's say I want
can.
to like contribute, I can just share through your socials.
Kenya
Yeah.
_ on Facebook, at CDP Kenya _ on Twitter.
All right.
And on Instagram as well.
All right. As we conclude, what message do you have for the listeners, and what is paraventure somebody could have joined us and probably ajesikia chochote ama kila kitu ambayo tumekuwa tukiongea imempita. What is that one takeaway you'd want the listener to go home with this morning?
I want to tell them that nothing justifies violence. Nothing. So violence is violence. Usiogope kwenda kureport. Don't shame the victim of violence, especially the woman. They are going through a lot. Kwa hiyo msi, even you the listener, if you are a man, and I know sometimes when I say women, unaona basi mambo ya mama sitaki kusikiza. Hata wewe you are responsible. Take care of your sister, take care of your neighbor's daughter. Protect them. Violence is violence, and it should not be tolerated anywhere,
right,
or in any form. Yes.
All right. Nakuwa nzuri tena sana. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been fantastic. We're having Zeinab from CDP in the building. A very fruitful conversation on Femicide. Remember to catch the podcast on Spotify as well as the original conversation on our YouTube page at Blue Radio Kenya on all platforms. We continue to talk about this conversation. We're actually being challenged this morning by Zeinab that we do have the means, we do have the opportunity to always talk about it.
Yes.
And we will try to, as gentlemen, we will try to approach it differently.
Right.
And as we've learned and been reminded this morning, charity begins at home. So it's whatever we are doing in our homes, whatever we are doing in our offices,
that reflects
the exactly.
Yeah.
It reflects who we are, and it reflects what we are anticipating to have again. How's your?